I got some smoke for you.
Woo!
Rest in peace to the Godfather, Kevin Samuels.
Rest in peace.
I don't like what you did after he died.
What?
It's disgusting.
What, re-uploading the parts of
Disgusting.
the interview?
Disgusting.
What'd he do?
The nastiest performance I've ever seen.
What?
Why do y'all do that?
So recently, Adam22 appeared on the Joe Budden podcast, and Joe actually called him out for capitalizing off death. Now, the person he was talking about specifically was Kevin Samuels, someone known to people all over the internet and the manosphere, someone who's basically the godfather of basically giving people advice, how to better their life, how to grow as a person, and holding yourself accountable for your actions, which is stuff that a lot of people, particularly women, didn't mess with. But we're here to talk about the music side today. Now, not to bring race into it, but when you talk about a person such as Adam22, who's a white man who profits off the death of a black man, he is viewed as a culture vulture in this type of scenario, which I do understand and agree with. However, this is the way that he runs his platform. It's not just happening for black artists, it's not just happening for black content creators. It happens for anybody under the sun who puts out content that's big enough for him to put on his platform. Now look, right? Adam isn't treating the death of Kevin Samuels any different, but it was someone with a major following in the manosphere who suddenly died, and according to Adam, he wanted to show his respect and put the content out for the viewers to enjoy. So, Joe Budden asked him, Adam, why didn't you take off the AdSense, or why didn't you turn off the monetization? And Adam's response was, you know YouTube doesn't push your content unless it's monetized, which is something that's very true because the whole purpose of this is to make money. It's a business to monetize and get AdSense off the videos. And if your video has no monetization or it's restricted, why would they push a video that YouTube itself cannot profit off? It's simple business, it's simple analytics, and it's just simple economics. Now, to be totally honest with y'all, from the clips that I've seen, it's looking like Adam22 stood on everything he said. He talked about how Pop Smoke, a Brooklyn legend, someone who came from the rap scene so fast in 2019, how when he died, radio stations played his music. They showed us old interviews from Power 105, the one in New York, and basically all the stuff that he did and the music, how Superstars Aim with the Moon went viral, and basically saying that, like, obviously after he died, people showed him way more love. And what's the difference between them posting his music, them streaming on the radio station, and him putting content out about someone who died? And obviously Joe Budden has something to say about it. He said it's not the same thing. It is totally different, which I have to understand and see, because look at this, right? If a radio station were to play music or basically play something that has something to do with a tribute towards a dead artist, you have to look at it as like they're paying their respects. But if someone such as him with a big platform puts out videos that's directed at someone who basically died and kind of capitalizing off like the buzz that they have for a short time, especially if they didn't have any buzz before, but now they died, people are checking in, which isn't the case with Kevin Samuels, of course, it would be considered him basically doing grimy behavior because he's taking all the profit for himself, but when it's at a radio station, it's basically evenly dispersed because people are listening to different stations. But a major point that Joe Budden said, which I do heavily have to agree with, is said that Adam was out here putting out the content. I don't want to say Adam because he has a good team behind him. No Jumper is a very valid platform. I watch these guys all the time, and this ain't even knocking them. This is just talking about what's hot right now. And they do the same thing. If something was happening with another platform, such as $1 Million Worth of Game, Breakfast Club, they would talk about it. And now it's looking like No Jumper is sadly in the hot seat, man. But it is what it is. This is what happens when you're in the industry and when you make a successful platform. And I mean, Adam has a lot of good stuff going for him. So I'm not even taking that away from him, but we got to address the elephant in the room. And the truth of the matter is, he was basically benefiting off the death of another individual. And before, what Joe Budden said, before his family could even, arrange a funeral, and knowledge will fully happen, he's already putting clips out of that were viral of someone that was on his platform and that's no longer with us. It's funny because the people on Kevin Samuels, Joe Budden's platform, are saying that they thought the interview came out after he died, so like he was purposely trying to capitalize off that. But once they realized that the interview was out before then, and they just posted clips on their new No Jumper Clips channel, they said that, oh, it's not as bad as we thought because the video's already out there. And although it is a bit grimy for them to capitalize then, it's not as bad as them having an interview in the stash, in the vault, untouched, and then as soon as someone dies, just say, yep, let's drop it right now, 1 million views instantly, which I do have to respect. Now, if I'm keeping it all the way 100, right, the reason No Jumper is getting most of the heat is because they are a major platform, like I said before. And it's like, when you're the biggest of the bunch, you get all the heat from it. It's like, you ever get in trouble with your cousins when you're the oldest? Even though you all did everything yourself and together, you get most of the blame because you're the oldest and you know better. And you're kind of supposed to set the tone for everything else. Now, like I said, No Jumper is the biggest platform, but take away the cousin sense, take away you being the oldest, because these are grown folks running their own platform, and they cannot be responsible for what other platforms under them decide to do. However, they can be responsible for what their platform does to do. And this moment, they gotta, I guess, I can't even say make better decisions because it's a business decision. They run a business. Their whole purpose is to make money, provide content, and it is a bit controversial. However, controversially does sell. And that's just what I'm rolling with. And I guess I have to allow it for what it is because what am I going to do? But it's not my platform. And regardless if they post it or not, their channel's still going to get views. I mean, the sad reality of us as humans is we care more about negativity than positivity. Like, to be honest with you, if we were to see negative news about an artist dying or someone getting into a car accident or something sad or tragic about someone's life, we'll be more in tune to care about them and hear what's going on. But if it would be someone bought a new house, someone bought a new car, sure, we would care to see. Sure, we'd be like, the car is nice, the chain is nice, the watch is nice. But we wouldn't have as much interest with the death and controversy and sadness. Another major platform Joe Budden called out was DJ Vlad, which to some is the black culture's biggest vulture. Now, Vlad takes advantage of every opportunity he has, and if I said his content interviews were on fire, I would be lying. Vlad came up with YouTube back in the early 2000s, so he basically has one of the biggest channels out on YouTube with over 25,000 videos. And he has the most historic interviews I've ever seen on YouTube, such as the Soulja Boy interview where he's talking about when people broke into his house, he had to hold it down and hit people with the hammer. And I can't lie, even though he does ask very controversial questions and does a job that's very controversial, especially as a white man in black culture, he does a pretty good job interviewing people to keep it 100. Now, when Vlad interviews people, he has this very federal and inquisitive type of questioning style that, to most people, is very federal, to be honest with you. I remember one time interviewing this Bronx rapper, C-Hi Ali. I'm pretty sure he's around 40 years old right now. And he basically just asked him about the murder of someone who was very close to him, which is actually his brother-in-law. Because, long story short, he basically killed his baby mother's brother because he got into an argument. And he's asking him all types of federal questions, such as, when did it happen? Where do you go on the run? Are you supporting these people? Questions that are super federal and kind of makes you think, does Vlad have a secret agenda? Is he Officer Vlad? Is he Detective Vlad? Because people, obviously speculate because questions he asks are very federal and they're like, yo, this dude is the police. But certain questions he asks, people do want to know. But other questions are like, yo, this guy's going a little bit too far and he probably has a secret agenda. Another thing that Vlad does is that when Vlad has an issue with someone, he decides to be petty. Like, I'm talking super petty. So, for instance, something that happened was Boosie Bad is someone that appears on DJ Vlad's platform very frequently. And Boosie signed Young Blue, the artist, someone who's known for the song that goes like, if I ever made you angry, just know I'm sorry, it'll get better. That whole song, that artist, right? So he was basically signed to Boosie's label, and Boosie did a lot of good things for him. He's basically the hardest artist on his label. So long story short, when Boosie got shot, I believe it was last year, March or something like that, he actually went to go undercut Boosie because he was injured in a wheelchair and cut him out the picture to sign with a new record deal. When Boosie found that out, he's obviously upset because he's like, yo, I'm trying to do you a favor, sign you to my label, put you out to new people, and you're trying to tell people you're independent, you're not signed to a label, and basically trying to reject and downplay all the help that Boosie Baddies ever gave him in his career. And if you ask me, this is super top tier grimy behavior.